It's the black guy in the corner.
I watched the first minute of this video and I was a little bit like surprised. I'm like, oh, Clavicular is giving advice here. But then what I realized is that this seems to be the case with a lot of young kids around Clavicular's age. They're seeing things a bit differently. So maybe we can learn something from them. So without further ado, let's get to the video.
You know, maybe you kind of feel this as well, that she's kind of telling you how you feel and telling you that you're okay with things. And just, it feels a little bit like almost manipulative. Mm-hmm. Do you get that vibe ever?
I don't get that vibe, because if I genuinely wanted to befriend a female outside of a business dynamic, I wouldn't, because for one, I've never been in that position where I wanted to befriend a female that there was no opportunity for us to do business together in any capacity for the sake of just being her friend, being a friend. Like if that was the case, like I'd probably have the intention to fuck her. Like it wouldn't be on some let's just grab a coffee and grab a bite to eat. It would just be like, well, I think you're hot. Let's like there wouldn't really be like it would be malicious intent. Like I just can't see myself ever being in that position unless there was like a business dynamic.
Yeah, there's really no reason to ever be friends with a female. It's ridiculous. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, like, you know, it is a little bit outrageous to have like a male friendship. The only man really that should be in your life at this point is your father, your brother, and Larry. You know, so
well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
So
hold up. I'm not aware of Larry Wheels' relationship, his wife, his marriage. I've been seeing a few videos, and I was actually surprised to see this, especially when I started watching it. That's when I was like, oh, nah, we got to record this and we got to react to it, because this is actually very telling. Clavicular is a 20-year-old kid, young man. And he's giving advice to Larry Wheels, who I assume is around maybe probably approaching 40 or in his 40s, somewhere around there. Larry Wheels comes from a generation of happy wife, happy life. That's what it seems like. And these young kids like Clavicular, they're not with that. They're not with all that happy wife, happy life. They're not with the go along with everything that society pushed us towards. These young kids, Clavicular's age, they're actually pushing back on the things that don't make any sense, the things that they saw growing up in perhaps their parents' relationships, and then seeing what society is pushing us to get towards. And they're like, yeah, I don't want that. Dad, I don't like how dad is being treated. I don't want to get treated like that. So here you have Larry Wheels, who's sitting here saying that he has no purpose of having a relationship or a friendship with a woman outside of them having any type of business deals. If I heard correctly, he has no intention. And here she is, I guess, because Clavicular saying the same thing with her. Like, yeah, you don't need to have any male friendships outside of Larry and your dad. And she chimes in and says, we'll just have to agree to disagree. So he's being held to a standard that she's not even held to. This is wild. And I'm also I don't know how Larry Wheels grew up. I know Larry Wheels from being able to lift a whole lot of weight. People would probably say he's an alpha guy. All of those muscles don't hide the trauma from your upbringing. And what do I mean by that? For a lot of kids, a lot of men that did not grow up getting girls, and then you get girls when you either maybe hit your 20s or 30s, maybe you hit some sort of success when it comes to business. Maybe in Larry's case, you start lifting weights, you get swole, you start lifting different, you transform your body. And I'm sure the attention that you get now is greater than what you got before. A lot of people fall victim to the things that you're supposed to learn, like all these finesse games that a lot of women will play, not saying all of them, but ladies know more than men. That's why women can sometimes point out the bad behavior in women before we even realize, because we're just so sprung off of, that and maybe her looks. So we end up getting caught up in it, especially if we've never dealt with it, if we've never got that type of attention. If we've never gotten that type of attention growing up, then we're never even going to learn these lessons. So therefore, we're looking back at Larry Wheels and we're saying like, bro, are you hearing this conversation? And Clavicular is trying to be respectful, because If he wasn't, this conversation would be going a definitely a different way. But he's trying to be respectful. Larry Wills, big dude. He probably like, oh, I want to piss this dude off. And also, I don't want to disrespect him and have him looking crazy on my stream, especially in front of his girl. But this is wild. This is wild. So let's get into this stream. Let's get into it. But I'm sure y'all thinking the same thing.
I sort of feel like, and I think you're gonna sort of agree with me here, is that you love your wife so much that sometimes you're not willing to put your foot down and say things that you don't like. And that's really good that you feel so passionately about her. That means the relationship is good. Mm-hmm. The attraction's there. And I'm very happy for you about that. But I think you're so worried about losing her sometimes that you're sort of losing yourself. And you're losing.
But I think you're also looking just stuff from your perspective, how you would. I don't think you really look at things objectively. I think that's the problem here. You look how you would act in a situation that you're in. You don't understand it like.
No, I'm not even trying to.
First off, he's asking Larry. You're kind of proving the point. He asked Larry the question. And she's chiming in. He's turning and looking at Larry, asking him a question. That sometimes you're so scared to lose her that you're losing yourself. And she responds for Larry, and he just sits there. Bro, this is why it's so necessary to do the internal work. See, the internal work hopefully comes with our upbringing, us seeing how our father carried himself. Hopefully in a very respectful way, to where he gives respects and demands respect in return, to where we're able to see that dynamic. Larry Wills looks like the alpha of alphas, the sigma, the whatever other Greek letter you want to throw in there, whatever. He looks like all of them, right? The alpha, the sigma. He looks like every bit of Greek god. But when it comes to his mindset, if Larry Wills did not look the way that he looked, what would Clavicular be telling him? What would everybody be pointing out, which would be so obvious? It's like, bro, you're getting taken advantage of. You're getting finessed. If Larry Wills was sitting here as just a guy with a whole bunch of money, let's say an older guy with just a bunch of money, a sugar daddy, like, right? How we see a lot on Instagram and stuff like that, we'd be able to very easily see what's going on here. But because he's with the muscles, because he gives off the appearance of being such a strong male of masculine energy, it's like he doesn't even realize what's going on. Maybe it's serving almost as a facade for him in a lot of ways, where he can't even see what's going on right in front of his face. Bro, I'm asking you a question. Why is your girl responding? Like, to the point where I don't even know why she's here. I don't even know why they're having the conversation with both of them here, but especially because it's making Larry look crazy. But once we're seeing the dynamics of this conversation, we can understand. Oh yeah, you're going to see Clavicular? Oh yeah, I'm going too. Oh yeah, I'm going too. And probably if the shoe was on the other foot, if she was going somewhere, she'd be like, oh, Larry, yeah, you sit this one out. Maybe you should sit this one out. Let's go back and rewind. I just want to hear the question that he asked her once again. Hold on. And I may have gone back too far. It is what it is.
Really look at things objectively. I think
about that relationship, and that sometimes you're not willing to put your foot down and say things that you don't like. And that's really good that you feel so passionately about her. That means the relationship is good. Mm-hmm. The attraction's there. And I'm very happy for you about that. But I think you're so worried about losing her sometimes that you're sort of losing yourself, and you're losing.
But I think you're also looking just stuff from your perspective, how you would. I don't think you really look at things objectively. I think that's the problem here. You look how you would act in a situation that you're in. You don't understand it like.
No, I'm not even trying to put myself into his shoes or insert myself in any way.
Like from your perspective, I feel like, okay, you're set in your way and like you hear what we're saying, but you're not really like processing in a way to understand, like, okay, like maybe different people work a different way. There is a different dynamic with other people, and that's what makes that's the beauty of this of us as humans.
The fact
is
that
like
she answered the question on your behalf. I mean, that was like an
No,
extremely
I was
like
just saying,
directed question towards you, and you know, like I said before, it seems like there's some sort of manipulation sometimes. Her sort of telling you how you feel. When I was asking you, like, genuinely, could this be it? You know, so like, you don't even have to answer the question. It's just something to keep on your mind. Like, maybe you are just scared of navigating things wrong and losing the thing that you love, and that's very understandable. I don't think that anyone should fault any man for having that sentiment, because that makes you human, right? That makes you extremely human. Someone who's not a psychopath, and someone who's deeply in love. So, you know, I admire you for that, and I hope, you know, you're able to sort of cultivate this relationship going forward.
Yo, what is going on here? This is weird. Yeah. Is this some type of humiliation ritual or something? Like, what is going on here? Why is he even having this conversation? Bro, I would have shut this down. Like, yeah, we're going to talk about something else. If you're going to sit there and act like this, I would have, like, nah. But it kind of shows that I don't think he realizes how crazy he looks in this situation. And that's what a female can do. You get so caught up in your female, in your lady, in your girl, getting so caught up and sprung over her. Women know. They know how to finesse us. And clearly, look at Larry Wheels. Like, he seems like are you like slouching down? Like, bro, sit up in your seat. Like stand up for yourself. Damn, fight back. Oh my God, let's keep going.
In a way that just makes sense as much as possible for you. So, like, you don't have to say exactly how you feel or exactly what you want on the internet, but just going forward, sort of, I'm just hoping maybe you could keep some of this in the back of your head so that you're looking out for sometimes some of these different tactics that are being used, you know? So just going forward, it's always good to have that on your subconscious.
Mm-hmm. And I'm standing on this hill where I say, like, I genuinely do not have an issue since the beginning with her being in contact with a male friend that was many years before my time. And that's that. You know, and maybe many here in the chat, I can see them spamming, I'm a bitch, I'm on a leash or whatever, probably people that aren't even in a relationship themselves, trying to tell me, a married man, happily married by the way, like that I'm X, Y, and Z and I should behave this way. But I'm happy in our relationship. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to that particular male friend, I know it's platonic. I take her word for it. I trust my wife. Like, there is no discomfort. Whenever we have discomfort, we talk about it. And this is how come we be able to make it 5 years, right? Because our communication is so strong. I don't bottle things inside. I don't just explode one day like, well, like, what's really at play here? Like, what do you have going on with this person? Or I don't trust you doing this or that, or talking to this person, that person. That's not how we get down. Like, we don't argue, we don't fight ever, right? Mm-hmm. We genuinely have a very healthy relationship because our communication is rock solid. So when these things that, whether it's the beginning, the middle, or now come up, whatever it is, we just talk it out.
Absolutely. And listen, the last thing that I'm trying to do is sit here and say this part of your relationship doesn't work, this isn't going well, because that would be retarded, right? I'm a 20-year-old kid. That doesn't even make any sense. You guys have been married for 5 years. You understand each other more than I or anyone on the internet ever could. All I'm simply saying is being brought to attention or being made aware of potentially some other perspectives or some other things that could be going on is always good, right? So, you know, like I said, not trying to convince you anything is wrong or you should operate differently in any way at all. Just something to keep on, you know, in the back of your head. And when you see different...
Yo, he's trying his hardest not to just say what he would like to say. Clav is picking his words very carefully, trying to be super respectful. which is good. Which is good because it's the tough thing to do, to have a conversation with a guy and to try to tell him like, bro, it sounds like you're kind of being manipulated in some ways, and his girl is right there. And it's yeah. And I don't know their relationship. I've known that this guy, what's Dean the Great? I know Larry slapped somebody who was, I don't know. I don't even know the situation. I don't know what caused that situation. So yeah, but just yeah. You're trying to. We're just all trying to read the room, read between the lines, read the body language of who's running things. But I guess Larry said he's happy. So what did I say earlier? You know, this is happy wife, happy life. I guess because he's happy, you know, that's all that matters in the situation. And that's maybe more than a lot of others of us can say. So maybe she's doing certain things in the relationship to make him happy and to make him say like, yo, whatever. She can have whatever friends she wants. What the lengths that she's going to please me and make me happy. A lot of y'all only wish that y'all girl will go to those lengths. So I don't know. I'm willing to learn from whoever and whenever. So if Larry's doing something to where Larry is, you know, the happiest guy in the world, then maybe there's some stuff to learn from Larry as well. So that's my energy with it. Let's keep going.
Behaviors, it'll sort of be like a little trigger, like, you know, maybe I have to reevaluate my position a little bit. And I've always had people doing that for me, and it's something that's been very useful because love kind of blinds you in a lot of cases. And friends have always been there to look out for me when I wasn't navigating through that kind of stuff in the best way. And, you know, the same thing was true for me. I was like, no, this is going well. Might be okay with this. And then they tell me, you know, maybe this is a little bit of manipulation. Maybe you can navigate it a little better. I'm like, yeah. But it's in my head now, and I could react in a little bit of a different manner going forward when the same
but the
behaviors.
moment you put other people in your relationship, I think that's wrong. Like, I understand your perspective. You should have somebody else tell you, but I feel like, okay, we know our dynamic, and I feel like you should never let other people be involved in your relationship. I never tell any of my friends or my family whenever we have a problem. We talk, we sort it out, because nobody else should know your business. And I don't need my friend to give me a perspective on my relationship. They can never get the grasp a full picture of our relationship and our dynamic based on like the information I give them, because it's just like one-sided. You know, my friends hear my story, his friends would hear only his story, so there is never a full picture. So I feel like we should not take anybody's advice on our relationship unless it's something like, okay, like we went to a therapist and like we want to really talk about it, and we like openly say both of our stories, and that's like very different situation.
That's where I'm going to hugely disagree that the people around you the people who are super close to you in your circle shouldn't have an idea of what's going on, or shouldn't give you any advice as to sort of what you're doing.
Let me chime in and give my opinion before class speaks, because I want y'all to hear it from me. And yeah, before, obviously we know what class is going to say. So for me, I actually agree with what she's saying to a certain extent. And it reminds me of something that I heard Patrick Bet-David say a while ago, where he was talking about in his relationship, something that was very important is, let's say, okay, boom. Patrick Bet-David's wife, her family, if she brings a problem or starts complaining about certain things that are happening in the relationship, maybe that Patrick Bet-David may either be doing or contributing to in somehow, some way, her family should be the ones reminding her how amazing Patrick Bet-David is. They should be trying to heal the situation, serving as a reminder, because sometimes we can lose perspective. We get caught up in the now without understanding the big picture of like, yeah, I'm complaining about this petty thing, but not realizing that the big picture, like I get everything that I'm looking for. You know what I mean? We'll complain about the little 2% that we can't stand and prioritize that over the 98% that's making us happy. So I do understand that. So that should happen on both sides. So can that happen if they don't know anything about your relationship? Probably not. Now, like most things in life, there's a healthy balance. Now, if the balance is just because it's a balance doesn't mean that it's 50-50. The balance that I would lean into is, if you're around somebody, then you're aware. You're aware of what type of person that is without only sharing the negative things. A lot of times we can fall into the trap of only emphasizing the negative things without emphasizing the good things, because the good things we're just accustomed to, right? That's how it should be. So we have to be very careful with the information that we share and be very intentional to make sure that, hey, if I was in that person's shoes and I'm hearing all this information about my boyfriend, about my girlfriend, about my husband, about my wife, what type of mindset would they have? What type of vision what type of picture am I painting for them about my significant other? Now, us understanding that, it kind of forces us to wait, damn, I'm only complaining. So therefore, that person's only hearing the complaint. So of course, they're going to think that my significant other is not a good person, because we tend to emphasize the complaints without emphasizing the things that become normalized that we just expect, we feel entitled to. So there's I see the way of looking at it on both sides. The problem is what I've seen different friends, family, whoever it may be. Nobody in particular that I'm thinking about. My experience, and this is, you gotta pick. I don't want anybody to think I'm talking about them. Whatever, it is what it is. This is how it goes. When you got somebody that's trying to manipulate you, they don't want you to have any contact with your family. They don't want you to be speaking to them about anything. They don't want you sharing any information, right? That's the extreme on one side. So I'm not saying that it has to be or should be an extreme in that way, right? Because that's how manipulators try to operate. They don't want you telling other people, because other people are going to be convincing you like, yo, this is wild. Like, you're going through this. Like, he's telling you that. She's telling you that. So when it comes to this particular situation, we can look at it and see, well, maybe it would be nice for y'all to share some of these experiences with your friends, because your friends can remind you of who you are in times when you do lose yourself, because like Clav said earlier, you're so worried about losing your girl or losing your dude. So like most things in life, it's not just do this, go 100% this way. It's a certain balance that we got to find for ourselves. So yeah, let's keep going.
Your male friends, if you've cultivated those relationships in the right way, your circle is the right people, will never betray you and always have your back. That is not something that could be said about really any woman, right? So kind of understanding that, and that there will always be those people in your life, those actually true friendships who are doing everything and will look out for you in any way necessary. It's good to have those people having a little bit of a picture into what's going on.
But you have.
If you have friends like that, I can see that, but anybody will betray you, first and foremost. And this is why it's just so important to just have the right upbringing, be able to see and learn a lot of these things through the experiences of others. If you grow up in a household where you're seeing the dynamics in the relationship between your mom and your dad, that helps a lot, because relationships are the hardest things that we're going to get into. Relationships are hard. Even if you had a good example, it's still hard. It's still super hard to be able to work with somebody else and to grow, to build a family, whatever it is that your goals are. It's extremely difficult. So when we're not learning these things, it makes it even more challenging, But to Clav's point, your friends are going to be the ones that never, your friends aren't in the position that you put your girlfriend or your boyfriend in. So therefore, they would never be in a position to perhaps disappoint you the way that you can be disappointed in a relationship, because you open yourself up in a different way in a relationship. However, it's the same thing with friends. You got to figure out which friends are actually rocking with you, because your closest friends can sometimes be jealous of your situation. And it may have nothing to do with you. It may just be to the point where, your friend may not be in a relationship, so her life may just be a little bit better, or his life may be a little bit better when you're not in a relationship. So therefore, they may lean that direction. So everybody's going to have their different opinions that are motivated by different things. But I think it's, once again, that's the balance that we have to put in play. Life is about balance. Like we would all love for it to just be 100% this way or 100% this way or clear black and white, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So I understand what she's saying, understand what Clav is saying. It's going to be somewhere along that spectrum, in my opinion, because sometimes when your friends are in, or when you do share certain things with your friends, they can save you. They can remind you, like I said earlier, of who you are. Remind you of your standards, remind you of some of the advice that you gave them or would give them if they were doing the same things that you're doing. So we just got to figure it out.
Friends who betrayed their friends after like 30 years of friendship, and they thought they were loyal, they were, you know, like the best. I genuinely feel like, and I think we spoke about this and you agree as well, we should not ever put other people in our marriage and talk about, you know, like our problems. We don't bring our relationship stuff out to public and to friends.
I believe our problems should be discussed amongst each other, not amongst our friends and family, because as my wife said, and I agree with her, it's largely one-sided. When you're telling your problem to your friends and family, whatever it is between your partner, they're only hearing your version of it, your perspective. They're not seeing the full picture, right? And usually there's a bias, right? So can they accurately give you advice if they're not seeing the full picture? Now, if it was a professional sitting down like you are, right? Not saying that you're a therapist, but like someone that's mediating to the people in the relationship, that's different, right? Because now they're seeing the full picture, but it's never the case. It's always like he said, she said, right? So it's just one-sided.
I think this is actually something that I got from, I believe the Baha'i faith does this, where you actually have to get, I believe, permission from both parents in order to move forward with a marriage. And I think what that does is it creates a certain investment to where now the family is invested in the marriage going well. It's like when you, and maybe in order to go through that process of getting them, your parents, to accept the relationship, to sign off on it, to so to say, perhaps it's going to bring some challenges that you need to work through. And you may not like the things that are there, but maybe it will shine a light on certain things that are actually problems that you may go through that you may not be aware of because you've never been in a relationship or a marriage, and your parents may have more experience in this. Now you may hear that and it may go left. Yeah, different possibilities. But I think overall, when we have more of our family investing into the relationship doing well, right, rather than not being included and wanting to sit here and say that, oh yeah, I told you we were right. You know, I feel like those are two completely different perspectives looking at it. So I can see the benefits. There's going to be pros and cons to all of this stuff. There's going to be pros and cons to all of this stuff. But if there's going to be a certain level of investment in the relationship, and that's what happens when you get your friends and family involved, then I think the investment should be wanting to, with the intentions of wanting to get a positive return. Like, I'm invested in this doing well. Like, I feel better about this when it does well, rather than feeling better about it when it crashes out and goes left. So therefore I can feel better when I say, I told y'all I was right. You get what I'm saying? Seeing the differences. So balance.
But here's the thing, you know, just for the people in the audience who are watching, if you're the man and you're wrong and you're just giving your friends your side of the story, that's still okay. That's still not going to be an issue, because at the end of the day, you should be operating out of self-interest and making a relationship that makes sense to you and the most ways possible. So it still wouldn't be a problem.
Do you think that when men are wrong and they talk to their friends and family closest to them, that they're admitting that they're wrong? Or do you think they're changing the story to make it fit them best? Like they're spinning a slightly different narrative?
Even if they're doing that, creating a new narrative, it's really not a big deal, because like I said before, like, you should be the prize. You are the prize in the relationship as a man if you've done everything to sort of set yourself up as a high status, high value male. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if you were to, you know, be operating in bad faith for some of this stuff, it still benefits you in terms of operating out of self-interest.
What about her?
Well, I mean, It's just it's the name of the game. You know, not everything in life is fair. Is kind of what I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with like life is not fair.
Like it is sort of a battle. It's a power dynamic at the end of the day. Not really a battle, but it's a power dynamic. So maintaining that is extremely important, and it's competitive, right? It's two people playing against each other to maintain that power, and that power should be in the favor of the male in a healthy relationship. That's how it's always historically been. That's what makes sense, because a man knows how to lead two people, knows how to lead a family towards success, towards sustainability.
So. I think that was the case for before. I think the dynamic of men has changed a lot nowadays. Like I think nowadays men are very different from before men. Like have you not noticed
But everything that I just said is still true about Larry, even if it's not true about an entire society.
Yeah, but we're speaking in...
I'm glad that Clav just clarified that, because yes, obviously we can look around and see that things have changed where men are not stepping up to the plate and being men. Men have fallen back, and a lot of that is because men have decided that. And it's because men have chosen to appease women and have chosen to take the back seat and let women take the lead and all these other things. Happy wife, happy life. Yeah, it's going on. Society has pushed us into this feminist women's movement, all these different things. Yeah. So everything that she's saying may be true. But in your relationship, are you saying that Larry's not that? Because that's a different conversation. And I'm glad Clav stepped in and said, yes, even if what you're saying is true about general society, that's not the case when it comes to Larry. So if Larry's all these things, then maybe that should at least have you adjusting and moving the way that I suggested previously, as far as how things have always been, with men taking the lead, men being the protector, the provider, that role. So what's the rest of this video? Let's look at the rest of this video.
Relax, listen, don't talk like that. You know, like 2,000 people watching.
Yeah, but we're speaking...
Hold on, what was that at the end?
Relax.
Even if it's not true about an entire society.
Yeah, but we're speaking in...
Relax, listen, don't talk like that. You know, like 2,000 people watching.
Wow. Did she call him a good boy? I don't know. And for all y'all, once again, the captions in the videos, that's whoever put up this video. Matter of fact, let me give a little credit right now very quickly. Let's Investigate. Yeah, I haven't seen Let's Investigate, but Let's Investigate, shout out to you for putting this video together and putting the different captions in. But that was not me, so I don't want y'all thinking that I'm writing that and then maybe saying something that's contradicting to it, because I'm not even sure if I saw all of them. But you'll be able to see what Let's Investigate put up as well. So there you have it. There you have it. We'll see you on the next video. Remember, like, subscribe, and see you soon.
TB, GI, TC. It's the black guy in the corner, but they'd rather see a nigga on the corner. They say I'm stealing Nick's clips like I'm stealing Nick's chick, not knowing that I hit him first week for the lick. I said, Nick, I could post here while you post there. Let's run the ads up, then let's meet up over there. Let's figure out a split that's honorable and fair. Tell me where you trying to take it. Bro, I'll meet you there. 1600 Penn, Wash, DC. Swear I saw the vision riding through the DMV. I envision prayers, but I could do VP. Hillbilly, L.G. Fuck, I look like JD. Shout out my cheat code. Dave and Karen raised me. And my big bro, a nuclear family.
And they don't like that. Strong fathers in the crib, BLM for that. LBJ society created all that. Victimhood mentality, I can't embrace that. And everything they taught in school, assume it's all cap. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Everything I said I'd be, I am that. Ain't no introduction, just some fun facts. In case you were wondering, I am that.
I know you heard me hit it 3 times for Dr. Umar. Shout out to Umar, man. We ain't kicking nobody when they down. And shout out to everybody that continues to show love, support, appreciating the message that I'm giving y'all along with the bro Nick's message. We gonna keep pushing, man. And shout out to the haters too, cause y'all in the comments heavy too. y'all the ones that gave me the inspiration to create this song. They kept saying like, who's the random black guy in the corner? I am.